Hi guys, welcome to Bankers Cafe. Today's topic is about crystallization of bills. We have covered following topic under crystallization. These are what is crystallization and to which transaction it would apply. What are the methods to calculate the maturity date for the purpose of crystallization? Key points to be remembered under crystallization. Dishonor of a bill before crystallization. Realization of crystallized bill, interest and recovery for a crystallized bill, process flow under crystallization, what is crystallization of import bill and applicability of rate under it, and in the end, extension of a crystallized bill. Let's discuss them in detail. Crystallization. Basically, crystallization is a process where a foreign currency liability is converted into Indian currency liability. How that liability is converted from foreign currency to Indian currency? That liability is converted when the purchasing bank sells the foreign currency. Either it would sell that foreign currency at TT selling rate, either it would sell that currency in bill buying rate. The rate whichever is higher, the bank will sell that foreign currency at that rate and will convert the foreign currency liability into the Indian currency liability. So that conversion is basically called crystallization. Or in simple word, we can say that when the foreign currency liability is converted into Indian currency liability is called as crystallization. Features of crystallization. Basically, there are three types of feature of crystallization. First is transfer exchange risk. Basically, exporters are liable for repatriation of the proceeds of exports bill, whether it is negotiated, discounted or purchased. Right? But on the due date, if the overseas buyer fails to make the payment and even after 30 days of that maturity date, it still fails to make the payment, then the purchasing bank will crystallize the bill, and when it will crystallize the bill, then it will transfer the foreign currency liability into Indian currency liability. So it will transfer that exchanges to the account of exporter, right? Now the second point is applies to unpaid overdue bills. The bill which is not paid on the due date will be called as overdue bill. So even after 30 days of that maturity date, if the bill is unpaid, then that bill will be crystallized, right? In the end, the last feature of crystallization is conversion of liability. Yes, obvious, as here the foreign liability is being converted to Indian liability. So the conversion is being happen for the liability, right? Let's move forward. Crystallization of bills. Basically, I have categorized the crystallization of bill into two parts. First is crystallization of import bill, which covers all imports bill which are under LC. And the second one is crystallization of export bills. It covers all bills, non-LC export bills. That non-LC export bill is what? Basically, an collections bill which is not under LC. Right? It is basically a export collection bills which is not under LC but it is discounted or purchased, right? And the second one is the export bill which is under LC, means that export bill which is negotiated, that also come under the categorization of crystallization of export bills, right? Crystallization basically applies to two types of bills: import LC bills and export discounted bills. So export discounted bill, whether that export bill is under collection or whether that export bill is under LC, here both will apply, but that bill should be discounted or purchased or negotiated, right? Now question is that when that these bill will be crystallized. Now we will talk about the import LC bill. That import LC bill will be crystallized on the 10th day from the receiving date of the document. let's take an example. Suppose issuing bank has received the document at his counter with today's value date, right? So issuing bank has received the document today. Then after 10 days from today's date will be the date of crystallization of import LC bill. Got it? Now the export discounted bill, right? Basically, the export bill will be crystallized after 30 days from the maturity date, right? Now we will discuss how to calculate the maturity date. Why it is necessary to calculate a maturity date when a bill is need to be crystallized? It is quite important because if we don't know the maturity date of a bill, whether it is LC bill, import LC bill or export bills, right? When we do not know what is the maturity date, or if we calculate the wrong maturity date, then it will be quite not helpful in the crystallization of bills. So if we need to crystallize that bill, or if we need to make the payment or need to receive the payment, then we must know that maturity date correctly, right? So now we will learn how to calculate the maturity date. There are two methods to calculate the maturity date, that is notional transit period, and the last one is the notional due date. What is these two types of maturity date calculation methods are, right? Let's discuss them in detail. First we will take notional due date. It is that type of methods to calculate the due date where it apply only to a usance bill, right? Basically it applies to all usance bill. It does not apply to site bill. Or in simple word we can that notional due date method is need to calculate the due date of all usance bill, or we can say all bills which are available by acceptance, right? Now how to calculate the due date of a usance bill? If we need to calculate the due date of a usance bill, then it will be calculated with the help of NDD, that is notional due date. Now what is the formula of calculating that notional due date? It is the negotiation date, means the date at which the document has been negotiated. After that, NTP means the notional transit period. We will discuss this NTP later in this video only, right? So I will teach what is NTP after this NDD, right? So let's move to the grace period. The grace period is of 3 days. Or in simple word we can say the grace period is what? Additional 3 days time period given for making payment. If somehow, if due to any reason the buyer fails to make the payment, right? And in the end, the usance period. So NDD is what? NDD is notional due date which is used to calculate the maturity date of a usance bill, or we can say that to calculate the due date of document against acceptance bill, right? So how we calculate that? So for that calculation we need basically 4 things. First is the date of negotiation, second one is the NTP, third one is the grace period, and fourth one is the usance period. Let's take an example. Suppose the shipment date is 20th April 2021 and the document is submitted one day after the date, means the 21st April, right? Transit period is 25 days. NTP, that what I have mentioned, that NTP, right? This NTP, the transit period is notional transit period. NTP is what? Notional transit period. So it is by default 25 days, right? Okay. Tenor is 60 days. So can we calculate the payment date, or we can say can we calculate the due date? Yes, we can calculate the due date. Document submission date is the date when the document is submitted at the counter of purchasing bank, and the purchasing bank has purchased those documents on the same date. So 21st April 2021 is the date of negotiation. Now in this we will add the NTP, which is 25 days by default. Now again we also add 3 days, which is the grace period. Again we will add the tenor, that is the 60 days, which is usance period. So whenever we add all these 4 things, then the date which is arrived, that will be called as the due date of a usance bill. Means if we need to calculate the due date of a usance bill, then basically we require 4 things: the usance period, the grace period, the notional transit period, and the date at which the negotiation happened. So when we add all these 4 points, we will get the due date, right? Basically notional due date, it applies to bill having tenor as DA. DA stands for document against acceptance, right? Means the usance bill. Let's move forward. Now we will discuss notional transit period. It is the another methods to calculate the due date of a bill, right? Now question is that, as we know that NDD, the notional due date, will applies to only usance bill, right? Here the notional transit period is only applied to side bill. Why it is only applied to side bill? Because in usance bill the due date is already fixed. Means we already aware what is the due date of a usance bill is. The date at which we need to make the payment is the due date in a usance bill. So in usance bill the date is already known, so notional transit period would not apply to that. Now notional transit period will apply to only side bills, right? If the bill is in foreign currency, then the notional transit period will be 25 days by default. If the bill is in local currency, means in Indian rupees, then the transit period will be 20 days. So notional transit period will apply to the bill having the tenor as DP. DP stands for document against payment, means the side bills. So NTP applies to only side bills. Let's take an example how to calculate the NTP. Suppose a shipment date is 20th April, the same example which I have taken in the NDD, and the document submission date is 21st April. Transit period will be 25 days as default, as I mentioned earlier. The tenor would be 60 days. Can we calculate the payment date? Can we calculate? Yes, we can calculate. Here when we add that negotiated date with the transit period, then that date which is arrived, that date will be called as the due date at which the payment is need to be made, right? We have learned both the types of methods to calculate the due date. Whether it is in case of demand bill means the side bill, right? Or whether it is the usance bill. So we have learned how to calculate the date by applying both the method, right? If it is a demand bill and that bill is not yet paid, means the bill is currently in overdue status, then at which date that bill will be crystallized? That in case of demand bill, when the 30th date after the notional transit period, then the date the arrived will be the crystallization date. Means if it is an unpaid demand bill, then 30th date after the NTP period would be the crystallization date. As we know that NTP period means the date which is applied to a site bill. So when it is a unpaid demand bill, so after that the 30th date means the date after 30 days from the end of notional transit period would be the date of crystallization. In the same case, if it is a usance bill, then it would be 30th date from the notional due date or the actual due date. As we know that NDD applies to usance bills, so whenever the NDD period overs and after that 30th day more will be the date of crystallization, right? In usance bills, the NDD period is over, and even after over of that NDD period, beyond that 30 days of that NDD period overs will be the date of crystallization, right? Let's move forward. As we can see in this diagram, this is the crystallized rupees liability, and the another one is the original advance purchased amount, and the third one is the exporter, right? So the original advance purchase amount is the amount which is made in advance to the exporter when the document is purchased, right? Now let's move forward. Whenever the crystallized rupees liability, when the bill is converted from foreign currency to Indian currency, that is called crystallization. When such conversion happens and it seems that there is a shortfall from which amount? The amount which is originally advanced to the exporter while purchasing the document. Means whenever the bill is converted from the foreign currency to Indian currency, then the amount which is arises, if that amount is less than the amount which is the purchasing bank has already financed in advance when it has purchased the document, then there is a shortfall, then that shortfall will be recovered from the customer, that is that shortfall will be recovered from the exporter. In simple word, we can say that when the bank has purchased the document, when the bank has purchased the export document, right, so it had advanced some money, right? When it has advanced that money which is advanced at the time of purchasing of document is greater than the amount which is after crystallization of rupee liability, then there is a shortfall, then this shortfall will be recovered from the exporter. Means whenever the bill is crystallized and after crystallizing that amount, the amount which is arises after crystallization, if that amount is less than the original purchased amount, then that shortfall amount will be recovered from the exporter, right? Now if that crystallized amount is more than the original advance amount, then it means that there is an excess of amount with the bank, because the bank when financed the document, when purchased the document, it has advanced some money. When that portion of money is less than the amount which is arises after crystallization of that bill into Indian currency, then there is a situation of excess. Now question is that when there is a shortfall, the bank has taken that shortfall from the customer account. Now in this case there is excess. Can the bank will pass on that excess to the exporter? Answer to this question will be no. Why the bank will not pass on that excess amount to the exporter? Because here the bank will utilize that amount in recovery of the interest, right? Interest amount, or if there is a balance still kept out, then it will be treated as an advance, right? Now we will discuss the process flow of a bill which is crystallized, right? So here is the drawer. So in the first point, it has submitted the export bill for discounting. So the drawer bank has discounted that bill and credited the account of drawer, means the exporter, in INR. And how much it will credit the amount in INR? That INR amount will be equivalent to the amount which is in foreign currency, right? Now let's move forward. After that, the drawer's bank will forward, means the exporter bank will forward those documents to the importer's bank, means to the drawee bank. After that, the drawee bank will release the document to the drawee only as per the presenting bank covering schedule, right? So after that, the drawee will release the payment as per the tenor through his bank to the drawer's bank. So drawer bank has received the bill. Drawer bank has received the bill and it has forwarded that bill to the drawee bank, and in return the drawee bank has received the payment from the drawee, which the drawee bank has forwarded to the drawer's bank. So here the drawer banks will knock off the liability by realizing that bill, right? So here the drawer bank will retain the foreign currency and will realize the bill, right? So this is the normal process for the export bill which is discounted, means here the exporter shipped the goods and the buyer has made the payment. Now the bill is being knocked off, or the bill is being realized. So it is the normal export bill discounting process. But if the buyer fails to make the payment, then here instead of realizing that bill, the purchasing bank, means the drawer's bank, will crystallize that bill and convert that liability from foreign currency to Indian currency, right? Let's move forward. Realization of crystallized bill, or in the sense we can say that recovery of a crystallized bill. What actually happened under this? A bill is said to be crystallized when it is being overdue for more than 30 days from the maturity date, and the purchasing bank has converted the liability from foreign currency to Indian currency. That bill will be considered as crystallized bill, right? So it means that the buyer does not has made the payment on the time. So we can say that here the drawee has made the delayed payment against that export bill, right? Now when there is a recovery of a crystallized bill, or in the sense we can say the realization of a crystallized bill, then here the financing bank will adjust the rupee liability of the crystallized bill. Means whenever there is a recovery of a crystallized bill, the financing bank, the bank which has purchased that document, will adjust the rupee liability, because it has already converted the foreign currency into rupee, So now rupee liability is outstanding. Then the bank will realize that rupee liability. When this rupee liability stands, it stands when the bill is crystallized. Right? Now there is no foreign currency liability when the bill is crystallized. That liability is already converted to the rupee liability. So whenever the payment is received against that bill, then the rupee liability will only be adjusted. Right? Now, what rate would a bank will apply to realize the crystallized bill? If the crystallized bill is need to be realized or it need to be recovered, then the bank would apply the spot TT buying rate. Spot TT buying rate means the TT buying rate which is prevailing on that date of realization of that crystallized bill. Right? If there is any shortfall, obviously it will be recovered from the exporter's account. Right? Now the last question arises that what about the interest? As we know that on the due date the interest has not arrived. Now who will bear the overdue interest and all its charges? Right? So interest for the period of date of crystallization to the date of realization of the bill will be recovered from the customer at appropriate rate which is described by the Reserve Bank of India. Means the date of realization to the the date of crystallization to the date of realization. The period in between them will attract an overdue interest. Means when the bill is crystallized, means the bill starts from the overdue, which is already 30 days over. Then only the bill is crystallized. So the crystallization date until the realization date will attract an overdue interest. Also, the 30 days from the due date to the date of crystallization will also occur in overdue interest. Right? So that rate of interest is prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India, which is need to be levied against the overdue bill. Right? In short, realization or we can say the recovery of crystallized bill, what happened here? Here the buyer has made the payment delayed. Right? Now we have received the payment. We will adjust the rupee liability. How we will adjust the rupee liability? By applying the spot TT buying rate. If there is a shortfall, we will recover from the exporter. And along with this, we will recover the interest amount as well as the interest amount is from what time? Means from the due date to crystallization date and after that crystallization date to realization date or means the recovery date. Right? Let's discuss more about the interest and its recovery. First step, it is the crystallization date. Means when the interest amount would be recovered. When? Please remember what I have said. When the interest amount will be recovered. First, the interest amount would be recovered at the date of crystallization. After that, the interest amount would be recovered from that crystallization date to the till recovery date of that crystallized amount. Right? So in simple word, when interest is need to be recovered, first it will be recovered at the date of crystallization. After that it will be recovered either quarterly, yearly, half yearly, whatever that it is. So after that it would be applied as per the bank policy. But it will need to be recovered for the period in between the crystallization date to the recovery of that bill. Right? Now what is the total interest which need to be recovered? The amount collected on the crystallization date when we crystallize the bill. Then at that time we also collect the interest. Now on date of crystallization, we will collect the interest for how many days? Then the bank will collect the overdue interest for 30 days, because from the maturity date to the crystallization date there will be 30 days gap. Then at crystallization date the bank would charge interest for 30 days only, right? Now let's keep this aside. Now let's move to the amount collected till recovery from that crystallization date. Means, suppose there is is a crystallization date, and after 1 month there is a realization date or recovery date. So again, sorry, that keep that 2 month gap time. So today is the crystallization date, and after 2 months there will be a realization date. Okay. So at crystallization date we have already recovered the 30 days overdue interest, which is from the due date to the crystallization date. Now there is also another second step which we have learned just right away, that another interest need to be recovered from the date of crystallization to the date of recovery. For that period the interest rate should also be recovered. Then when we add both the overdue interest, that is the when we add the interest which we have earned from the due date to the crystallization date, along with that when we add the interest collected on the crystallization date to recovery date, then they would both will be called as total interest. What is dishonor of a bill before crystallization? Dishonor is basically when the drawee, or means the importer, denies to accept or make the payment of a bill. That is called dishonor of a bill, right? So what is need to be done when the bill is need to be dishonored before crystallization? Now understand the thing. Before crystallization means we haven't received the payment from the buyer, and the bill is now need to be dishonored. How that financing bank will dishonor that bill? It can only dishonor that bill when it has recovered its whole amount. Means the originally advanced amount to the exporter while the document is purchased, means the rupee equivalent amount of the foreign currency is also need to be recovered from that exporter, right? All the foreign currency charges at TT selling rate will also be recovered from the exporter, because here the currency liability is being converted to Indian currency, bill is purchased, so all these foreign currency charges are also need to be recovered from that exporter account by applying TT selling rate, right? Also there were appropriate interest charges. Interest charges mean the overdue interest, right? And all other currency conversion charges. So whenever the financing bank has recovered all these amount, then after that it can dishonor the bill before crystallization, because the whole liability has been vanished. Then the bank can dishonor the bill, but before this amount it can't dishonor that bill, right? Now what is crystallization of import bill under LC? In this we will talk about in case of a side bill. Crystallization of import bill under LC having a tenor of sight. How it would that happen, and what is actually it is? Basically, whenever the issuing bank has received the import LC bill, whenever the issuing bank has received the foreign currency document under import LC at their desk or at their counter, then after that it need to crystallize that bill on the 10th day from the date of receiving the document, right? Or in short form, as I can say that all foreign currency import bill drawn under LC shall be crystallized into Indian rupees on the 10th day from the date of receipt of the document at issuing bank counters, right? Let's talk about the usance bill. what is need to be done and what actually it is when the import bill under LC is need to be crystallized in case of a usance bill. So just similar here, the date is changed. Whenever the issuing bank receive foreign currency import bill under LC at their counter, then it need to crystallize that bill. But now question is that on which date it will crystallize. As the tenor is usance, so there is a fixed due date, then the issuing bank has to crystallize that bill on that fixed due date, or means on the maturity date. In simple word, in summary, we can say that all foreign currency import bill drawn under LC shall be crystallized on the due date, right? And in the end, we will talk about the applicability of interest under import bill. Whenever the import bill under LC is negotiated, just listen carefully. Whenever the import bill under LC is negotiated, then it will apply commercial rate of interest from the date of crystallization or from the date of realization, whichever is earlier, right? Whenever an import bill under LC is negotiated, it would attract commercial rate of interest from the date of crystallization or from the date of retirement, whichever is earlier, right? Now stage second is that from crystallization date to retirement date there would be a penal interest. In simple word, in stage 1, commercial rate of interest would apply from the date of negotiation to the date of crystallization or the date of retirement. In stage 2, it would attract penal rate of interest between the crystallization date and the date of retirement. Now we will learn what are the key points which need to be remembered while crystallization process, right? As we know that export bill, whether it is having usance tenor or whether it is having demand tenor or side tenor, then those bill will be crystallized after 30 days, right? Whenever that NTP or NDD period is over, and even after 30 days from that NDD or NTP period, the bill is still outstanding or still unpaid, then that bill is need to be crystallized. But if somehow on that 30th day there is a holiday or there is a Saturday, then on that date the bill can't be crystallized, but then the bill will be crystallized on the next working days if there is a holiday or Saturday on that day, on the 30th day, either from the NTP or NDD, as the case applicable, right? Whenever the bill is need to be crystallized into INR, the bank would apply TT selling rate, that rate which is prevailing on that crystallization date. In simple word, when the foreign currency bill is need to be crystallized into INR liability, then the bank would apply TT selling rate which is ruling on that crystallization date, right? Whenever there is a recovery of crystallized amount, then the bank will apply the spot TT buying rate which is ruling on that realization date, right? Now one important point which we need to remember, that a commission of 0.15% shall be recovered on each foreign currency import bill received under LC at the time of retirement or crystallization, whichever is earlier. All the foreign currency import bills which is drawn under LC, then either at the time of retirement or either at the time of crystallization, the bank will charge 0.15% of that bill value, whichever it is earlier, either the crystallization date is earlier or the retirement date is earlier. Means a bill under LC is drawn and the bill is retired, then the bank will charge 0.15%. If the bill before retiring it is crystallized, then also the bank will charge 0.15% as a commission. So in both cases, bank will charge 0.15%. But if crystallization is happened earlier, then it will be charging under crystallization only. If the bill is being retired, then it will charge only in retirement only. But it won't be charged in both the cases, right? Now we will talk about the extension of a crystallization period. As Reserve Bank of India has authorized dealer, means the bank, to formulate that own internal policy in related to the crystallization. Means the RBI has authorized bank to formulate their own policy with regards to the crystallization process, right? Actually, the FEDI has prescribed 30 days at the end of NTP or NDT to crystallize a bill. FEDAI stands for Foreign Exchange Dealer Association of India. It has prescribed that there is a time of 30 days from the end of the NTP or NDT period. Then the bill is need to crystallize at that date. But there is in some cases the crystallization date can be extended, like gems and jewelry, where it can be extended up to 45 days. But it can only be extended if the exporter is requesting so. If the exporter is not requesting, the AD bank can't extend that bill at their own. If the exporter requests, the bank can extend up to 45 days. But for extension, the bank would require a declaration stating for the reason why it is need to be extended and up to which date it is need to be extended, right? So also there might be other some cases where extension of crystallization period can be happen. So for this, the Reserve Bank of India has given authority to the bank to decide basis on the genuineness of the transaction and credibility of the exporter to whom the extension is need to be provided. So it is solely depend on the banks. This is all about my video. Our next video will be on basis on the merchant trade transaction. Thanks for watching.